Welcome to Roxtalks, the podcast that helps network marketers grow their business on social media. When's the last time you planned something like your business, like what you're going to be doing in your business in this next quarter? It's a new quarter, and we're going to be breaking all those things down and get you really focused on how this quarter, second quarter of 2021, can be your quarter. We'll be right back. You know, I am loving and rocking Be Live in so many great ways. You know, we just finished a live video challenge last week or 2 weeks ago when you listen to this, with my, in the free social media for network marketers group. And one of the takeaways that I heard time and time again were people saying, I finally took the step and decided to dive into Be Live. And they were committing, as we talked about, what are you going to commit to do now that the challenge is over, committing to just really leaning into Be Live and letting that be that thing that makes their live streaming a whole nother dimension, that takes it to a whole nother dimension. That's why I love Be Live. And if you've not tried Be Live, I highly recommend it, because if you and I both know that live video is the thing, like live streaming, live video, whatever you want to call it, is where we are today and is what's making differences and making huge strides when it comes to how you are found, how people know, like, and trust you on social media. But we all need to stop the scroll. And there's so many things that can stop us from stopping the scroll. One thing I love is that Be Live stops that scroll. Having the ability to have a sharp look and feel with my live streams, having the ability to pop up people's comments, it makes all the difference. And I know it can make a difference for you as well too. So if you're wondering what all this chatter about Be Live is about, the buzz, I highly recommend you take a look and try it for 14 days for free. Simply go to bit.ly/you Be Live and tell them I sent you. There's a song I used to listen to by Avalon. It's a new time. It's a new day. I won't sing it for you, but I think about now, April, and I feel like it's a new day. It's a new time. Whatever happened in Q1 happened. It's done, right? Quarter one is done. Can you believe that? We only have 3 more quarters of 2021. And I think it's a really good time whenever we hit another quarter, a new 90 days, to get really clear on where we want to be when the next 90 days is done, and kind of revamp and reboot. I thought we'd do a little bit of that today. Why is it important? Because, wow, if we just go through our business and we don't treat it like a business in the sense of making strategic plans, and getting clear on what we need to be doing, we do nothing. Have you ever felt that way? And then the end of the month comes and you're like swarming and you're running, trying to figure it out. There's a reason that in network marketing, you hear people talk about front loading the month. The reason they do that is because it helps you get into some type of rhythm. And if it goes really well, awesome. You've hit your goals at the beginning of the month, and then it's all just gravy. But if it does nothing else, it gets you into the rhythm and it gets you doing those little things that build up. Same thing when it comes to 90 days. And something that I did with my members, with everyone, actually invited everyone to join it, was to do the CEO of You training. And what I did is I broke down the training the way that I plan and do it, but I gave you a way to do it for you, the network marketer, that was really clear on identifying where you want to be, what you need to do to get there, and then breaking those things down. Because we often say, oh, my list, I need new people, or I've already exhausted my list. And then what do we do to get new people? Well, then we just start like reaching out to all the old people, right? Or we say, I think I need to build my list. And then we look, and if we looked with our CRM or whatever reason, we realize, wow, I actually have a lot of people on my list. I just haven't pulled them through the funnel, right? But if you don't have a plan for that and clarity on that, it's not going to work. Another great example, we can say, I want to be rocking my Facebook business page, for example, but we don't have a plan on how to consistently be rocking that page to cultivate it and grow it. And then we're annoyed. And I get it that we're like, it hasn't gone anywhere. Well, what were we doing consistently to make sure we grow it? So that's why I want to talk to you guys about some things that you can do right now to really plan out your next 90 days. So in theory, and I know I say 90 days and we're a couple weeks into April, but that's fine. July. What I'm saying is when July hits, where do you want to be when July hits with your business? I mean, really think about that. That's how you start. Like, think about it. I went through this a little more in depth with my elite members just last week because new quarter deems that. Where do you want to be in July? Now, I like that question. I want to be in the Bahamas where I want to be. But no, I do. I seriously, I like that question because it's a lot more fathomable than where do you want to be a year from now or where do you want to be in December? Because we've seen that things change so drastically. But July, we can fathom. Where do you want to be in 90 days? Okay. Start there. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do you need to do between now and that date in July to get there? Like, what do you really, really need to do? Ask yourself that. And we're talking big picture, but we're going down smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So then once you decide what you need to be doing, I want you to break those things down and really have focus on what that is. Now, this is something you can apply to different aspects of your life, right? You can put PS, and by the way, if you're watching, you hopefully see that I'm wearing a Baylor sweatshirt because Baylor won the national championship. I just had to mention that. We'll talk about that later, but thought I'd mention that now just because shameless plug for my alma mater. Okay, but seriously, think about it. You've got to do that. Maybe a rank advancement or to qualify for a trip or for some special summit or whatever it may be. That's going to tweak your 90 days. But I want you to start that process of where do you want to be and how do you get there? And like I said, I go into that and I've gone into that more in depth. But let me ask you a question right now. When you think about where you want to be, are you taking a moment and going, but I didn't get to where I wanted to be these first 90 days? In fact, I'm nowhere near where I want to be these first 90 days. It didn't happen like I thought it was going to happen. I thought I was going to have all this time, and then it was hybrid school, and then it wasn't hybrid school, and it wasn't. And life just pulled me in different ways. I thought it was going to happen, but I just, for whatever reason, was not able to focus on it. Are you there? Or I did these things and I did it a little bit and I didn't get the traction I wanted. So I just kind of stopped and it wasn't working for me. That you? What I want you to do today is to let that go. See, because what we do is we focus on what happened or didn't happen, and we let that telegraph, where we're going to go, which makes it really hard to go where we're going to go, where we want to go. Because if we're thinking about what didn't work out or how we didn't achieve all the things or how we didn't do all the things or how we got overwhelmed or all the things, we can't. When you have that burden on you, there's no way you can move forward. So take a moment right now. You can pause this. I'll still be here. And I want you to write down 3 things you did achieve in the last quarter. And go ahead and write down the thing you didn't, because I know it's in your mind. Write it down. And when we write things down, we're able to let them go. So you can pause this and do that right now. Okay. You can take more time than I gave you, but so here's my question for you. When you look at those 3 things that you did accomplish, how do they make you feel? Are you the person that's like, oh, I did that, but, well, I kind of did that, but, and it was only this or that. I want you to remove all those things. You did 3 amazing things. And if you couldn't come up with 3, you need to go back and pause this and find those 3, because I know you did 3 amazing things. You had 3 months and I know you rocked it. I want you to remember those 3 things you accomplished, because that's a huge flippin' deal. Now let's talk about that one thing you did. That one thing, that albatross, which probably feels heavier than the 3 amazing things you accomplished, which should make you feel like a badass. That one thing you didn't accomplish. Why didn't it turn out the way you wanted it to turn out? Really ask yourself that. You know, I'm a big believer in taking responsibility for ourselves. So when I ask you to ask yourself that, I want you to, without putting blame on yourself like you did something wrong, ask yourself how you could tweak it. So what I mean by that is this. I was doing a one-on-one coaching call just the other day. And the person, she said to me, I'm not a good salesperson. And I said, why aren't you a good salesperson? And she said, well, I'm good with my current clients. I'm really great at that, but I'm not a good salesperson. I'm like, why aren't you a good salesperson? She said, well, because not everyone buys from me. They don't buy from me. And she's like, I wish I could be a good salesperson, but I'm not. And I said, well, first of all, you are not a good salesperson if you're going to keep saying that you're not a good salesperson. That is true. But why do you think you have clients? Why do you think you're a bad salesperson? And again, not everyone is buying from her. So this is what I asked her. I said to her, what is something that you purchased? Or no, what is something you really want to purchase, but you have not purchased yet? Like you really want it. You know you want it. You're all in. You haven't purchased yet. Should an Apple phone. I want a new iPhone, but I know I can't get it yet. We're waiting and I'm gonna get it like in a few months. I said, okay. I said, well, have you gone to the store to look at it? Now, this is not fair because we're in COVID and she hasn't been in the store, but let's pretend she had. She went to the Apple store, went to go check out the Apple phone. I want you guys to imagine yourself. And if you're an Android person, just imagine for a second you like the Apple or go to the Samsung store. That's fine. So you're there and you're looking at the new phone and you're looking at all the bells and whistles. And there's someone there with an adorable, colorful Apple shirt, whatever the color is, for that moment. And they're right there next to you and they're telling you all the features and they're amazing and you're in it and you're so excited. And it's like a yes. I mean, it was a yes before you walked in, but it's like a real yes now. You just cannot wait. Okay. But you know that you and your husband have decided monetarily that you're going to wait for 3 months till you get it. Okay. So when they ask you, would you like to purchase it? You say, no, thanks. Or you probably say something to the effect of, and she said, I'd probably say something like, I need to think about it and leave the store. Okay. Does that mean that the person that was selling her that product was a bad salesperson? No, if you've ever been to Apple, they're all great. They're all wonderful. You get so excited. You're like all in. They're not a bad salesperson because she didn't buy it. She already knew she was going to buy it. She did not budget that money for this moment to buy it at that time. It has nothing to do with the product. It has nothing to do with the person who was selling it. It has nothing to do with that. But of course, we could, when we look at it and go, I didn't sell as much as I wanted to. In our mind, we could go, okay, well, I did something wrong. No, it could really be that the circumstance was that it just wasn't going to happen. It has nothing to do with you. Because the truth of the matter is, if she leaves that store loving that product or more into it, then you have done what you need to do. You have moved the needle forward. So for all of you who've had a virtual experience and no one bought, or maybe you had a sale or you did some posts and you thought it was going to be like the gold mine, you had a Zoom and it's like no one bought anything. What I want you to remember is this: it's not all about you and your timing. So you have to release yourself of that and say, did I move the needle? Did I do a good presentation? Did I show them value? And if the answer is yes, then you did what you need to do. Now, sometimes you're going to show value and they're going to buy in that moment. Absolutely. But sometimes you're getting them closer to wanting it. How many times have we studied and looked at something before we bought it? Not everything is an impulse buy that we buy overnight on Instagram. Some things are actually things we have to think about and consider and get other consultation about and see that we need it. Or it's like, this is awesome when I need it. I can't tell you how many times I've said to myself, okay, when I need it, when my computer is broken, then I'm going to buy a new computer. I'm so excited. I want that new MacBook Pro, but I'm going to wait till the one I have is gone. So there's different reasons for buying it. It has nothing to do with you not doing your job. So I want you to release yourself when you think about whatever that thing is that you didn't accomplish during the first quarter. Now, again, I'm a big believer of us taking responsibility for our lives, ourselves, our businesses. So when you look at it and you sit there, if it's something where you're looking at the sales and it's not where you wanted, you didn't hit that goal and you're like, I suck. And then you got to remove that because that is not taking responsibility for yourself. P.S. And by the way, you saying you suck or you're bad at something is not taking responsibility. It is actually making yourself a victim and you're letting something happen to you. If you didn't hit that goal, ask yourself, what can I do differently to get closer to that goal or to hit it, right? And it is realizing that sometimes it is just that I got them closer to it, but I didn't get them across the finish line. That wasn't meant to be. But when you say I suck at something, then you remove your ability to be good at it and you become the victim. So I want you to think about whatever it is that didn't happen and ask yourself, how could I make this better? Okay. So if you're like, well, the product didn't come in. That happened to me. What could you do? Yeah, of course, product is an issue. And of course, there's lots of issues with that these days. But what can you do, even if the product doesn't come in, to get people wanting to get them on a wait list, to get them like chomping at the bit for it? What can you do differently? If you did one live video and no one showed up, did you do another one and tweak something? Did you start promoting it? Did you invite people to it? If you didn't do those things, then how is it ever supposed to get better? Look at whatever happened that wasn't the way you wanted to and say, I can control this outcome in the future. I can make this better. Not I sucked, not I'm not good at this. Go, okay, great. This is a puzzle and I'm going to rework the puzzle for Q2 and I'm going to hit that goal by golly gee willikers. You can do this. And then go back to those 3 things you were amazing at, that were succeeded, that worked out. And I want you to ask yourself, what was it about those things that you could emulate and redo? Okay. So sometimes we say, okay, because I do this with y'all. You'll say, oh, it was this new product that came out. The new product did it. The new product didn't do it. Got news for you. Because when you say that the new product was the reason that you were successful, what have you done again? You've made yourself a bystander and something happened to you, which again makes you the equivalent of a victim. You have control over what you do. You have control over your outcome. Okay. So think about it like, even if a new product, hey, if you never talk about the new product, you don't care about the new product, you're like on the new product, it could be an amazing new product, but it's not going to do well in your world. So there's something that you did with that new product. Go ahead and ask yourself, what did I do? And how can I emulate that? How can I get that excitement going again? How can I get that buzz going again? How can I take those great things and rock with them? We think that when we have like a promotion, oh, I did well because something was on sale. Promotion. No, those are just when you see incentives like that you're given by your upline or your team or the company, all they're doing is getting you into excitement and action. That's all they're doing. They're incentivizing this behavior and getting you into an excitement and action. Okay. So be really clear on that and ask yourself how you can emulate it. And then you go back to the next, where you want to be in July, where you want to be the next 90 days and go, okay, how can I break that down? Now, if you want a guided tour, a 3-hour tour, just kidding, it's not 3 hours. And it really isn't. But if you want a guided tour on how to get whatever that goal was and take it and break it down so you know exactly what you need to be doing every week of these next 90 days, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and check it out. socialstoriesmembership.com/CEO. You can get my full guide on how to do that. Now, I will say this, you could do it that way, or you could just, if you became a Social Stories member, you get it for free. It's in there. All my Social Story members have access to this. So you have 2 choices, but I highly recommend it because it's used over and over again, and it's helping network marketers just like you get really clear on what they need to do for the next 90 days and how to break it down by week so they get to their goals in whatever area they're trying to get to. In fact, one of my friends, not a network marketer, one of my oldest friends, he went to Baylor to Sick Bears. He reached out to me. Gosh, I guess this was in January. And he's like, hey, Roxanne, do you have anything that you've done on like strategic planning? Because I just need something to get myself in the groove. I was like, sure, let me send you this. He's in the financial world and whatnot and rocks that world beautifully. And he wrote back to me and he's like, oh my gosh, this is gold. I love this. Thank you so much. And I was like, oh, it was nice to see another industry like rocking it. And I literally gave him the exact recording that you'll get the exact verbatim. So it works. And share it with, maybe your hubs needs it as well too. But I do recommend that you lean into that and try it out because it's amazing what you can accomplish when you have strict focus, laser focus on those 90 days. Now, you know me, I am like, whoa. So I say that in the sense of, please know, I am not that. I will admittedly and proudly tell you, I will change the tire while the car's running, not literally, but figuratively in life. So I'm not someone who's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to sit down and I've got to get it all perfect and then do it. No, I'm a big believer of progress over perfection. So know that. But what I do and what I did, literally did this last month before March ended. I sat down and said, okay, where are the holes in my business? What do I need to be working on for the next 90 days? Where do I want to be in the next 90 days? And what are the things, where are the parts of the funnel that I want to feed? And so I wrote down and figured out what I want to do and then just mapped it all out. So I know, and I'm in the throes of that right now. For me, I'm working on my top of funnel right now, and I'm executing certain things on that specifically. I've now gone even further, and I know where I want to be at the end of July, beginning of July. I know exactly what my big thing is that I'm going to be working on, and I've focused on that. So I speak from a person of doing this. And again, I'm someone who's like all over, like, I don't want to say all over the place, but you get me. I'm not the first, we take this peanut butter and jelly. I could sing that song for you. And I still do 90-day planning in my own way. So I want you to know that if you're like, don't think that I'm Megan Summerall is my productivity coach. I am not the productivity coach, right? She's the one who's got it all together. That's not me. But I do use this 90-day strategic plan to get what I need to get done, and it works. So I highly recommend you check it out, or at least take the time and take the skills that we talked about in this podcast to help you get going. But I am a big believer that you have to let go of whatever happened in the last 90 days if you want the next 90 days to be successful. Okay. All right. So we'll be right back with a little bit of behind the scenes. Hey, sick 'em bears. I mean, seriously, I could sing the "Bear Down, You Bears" of Baylor. Okay, so I'm a Baylor grad. You know that. My dog, who is sitting behind me, you want to say hi? Her name is Baylor. My first dog's name was Bear. I am a Baylor Bear. And we just won the national championship, and I am so excited. Aren't you? It was great. So I'm talking to my dog. If you're listening, like, who did I say aren't you to? To Baylor. Oh, I am on cloud 9 and all the clouds and just so happy about it. If you're a Baylor Bear, you're not used to winning. Let's be real. Happens once in a while. Thank you, Moki and the women's team. But we've had as many wins as we've had some losses. So I was nervous the whole time. We beat Gonzaga, and we beat them good, and I'm just excited. And to the Zags, much respect to you. But I have to say, it feels pretty good to be a Baylor Bear and to go online and see all the positive things and the team and all that. So that's where I am. That's all I've got for you. We won. Yay. I also started I told you guys that I'm doing a coaching program. I'm being coached. And that started, we had the kickoff yesterday. For all of you who are like Roxanne, your webinars and seminars and things can be long. So 3 hour and 10 minute kickoff call. True story. 3 hours and 10 minutes. So I'm a lot shorter than that, but it was really good. And I'm super excited to just learn, lifetime learner here, and to be challenged. I was getting complacent. Right? Have you ever gotten that way? I was getting comfortable, and that's not for me. That's not how I want to live. I mean, I want to live comfortably, not worry about like basic needs. That's not what I mean. But in my business, I always want to be challenging myself and learning more. And because when I grow, I'm able to help you grow as well too. So I am super, super excited about this. I know I'm exactly where I need to be. And so that's a great thing as a national champion as well too. My dad was like, because they called and I said, did you call to congratulate me? He's like, congratulate you for what? What did you actually do? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that it was my win too. Isn't it? Isn't it all of our wins? I think it is. Maybe not. Alas. What else is going on right now? We are on day 2 of the engagement challenge, and it's fun to see people use their own personality and create engagement posts on this 5-day challenge, which is super exciting. One thing I should mention that I forgot to mention earlier, but P.S. and by the way, we are right now. Well, no, I'll tell you next week. I'll hold it. You have to come back next week. Anyhow, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Roxtalks podcast. If you liked what you heard with this episode or any episode, please don't hesitate to share it with others. We are streaming in all sorts of places right now. I'm super excited about I'm listening to a lot of podcasts on Spotify. Do you listen on Spotify? They've made it super easy. Love you, Apple. Don't worry. And Google Play and all the places. I know I'm forgetting somebody. But it's great to be out there in all the places you guys can find it and listen to it. Of course, you can always go to roxtalkspodcast.com if you want to find specific podcast. Okay, y'all, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you so much. And I just want to remind you, you are not ahead. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be. I'm in sick and bears world. Like I can barely think this week. So I'm glad that I got this podcast out. Hey, sick and bears. I'll see you next week for another exciting episode of Roxtalks. Take care.